Okay guys, here we are with the new Durafly P40. A lot of you guys have been waiting for this airplane for a while, and I can understand why. It's a beautiful model. You can take a close look, see just how smooth the foam is. This is factory paint. I just airbrushed it and detailed it up a little bit. But you can see, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen an EPO foamy as nice as this one. It's 1100 millimeter wingspan. I think that's around 43 inches or so for those of us that went to the moon and use standard metric still. Anyways, it's a great flying model. A few things to note. They recommend a 3S 2200. I found the 3S 2200 to be pretty on the tail heavy side, even with it pushed all the way forward. At least for my flying styles, on a warbird, I feel like they should be a little on the nose heavy side, especially models that have a tendency to tip stall. And this being a P40 with round wingtips, just like all the rest of the P40s in the world, they do have a tip stall. I think the Durafly team has put a little bit of washout in this model and makes it behave pretty well, but there is still a tip stall if you really get it slow on landing. The flaps certainly help with that. I don't advise landing it without flaps, at least a little bit. So far it's been pretty good. I've got, I don't know, 20 something flights on it already. I have flown it on 3S a few times. I had to add a couple ounces of nose weight to get it to fly as well as I liked. I felt that it flew well with the 3S battery without nose weight, but when you got it slow on your landing approach, it kind of seemed to wander and pitch. When I put a couple ounces of nose weight, and I'll show you guys how I did it so I can take it out if I need to. It's right here next to the battery. It's on Velcro, so I can just pull it out whenever I need to. And that's 2 ounces of lead. This is a Zippy Compact 25C 4S pack. I just flew it on that battery. It flies pretty good. I think once you guys fly this on 4S, you're not going to want to fly it on 3S anymore. I like having a little extra weight in my warbirds. I don't like them to fly real floaty. So that kind of fixed that problem. And like I said, it kind of needs a nose weight anyways. P40s like the CG kind of far forward. And a lot of it has to do with the wingtip shape and the narrow chord. But overall, I really enjoy it. I know there's a couple of scale issues that we talked about. I fixed the tail. As you can see, I'm missing some numbers here. I cut some of the tail away to bring the rudder in a little bit closer. And I think overall it really helped the shape of the airplane. I just flew it a few times with the shortened tail, and I didn't feel like I lost any stability or that there was any bad habits from it. So I think if you guys want to mod the tail, I don't think there's any problem with that. And I can understand why the Durafly team did it. You know, it's a tail dragger. You know, it's nice having a little extra a little extra vertical area to help out at low speeds and takeoff. I will say that this model takes off very easy for something with as narrow landing gear as this has. And now that I have the CG where I like it, it's much easier to land. I had a lot of problems trying to land this thing with just a 3S battery and no nose weight. But now I seem to have it pretty well nailed. This is how much flap I'm using. As you can see, it's quite a bit. It's about 45 degrees. No, they don't recommend that much. That might be the case with a little less nose weight with the CG farther aft. It doesn't like it with that much flap. That's the same thing that I found. I had to dial my flaps down with the 2200 pack. With the 4S batteries, it lands very nice now with this much flap, and you gotta land it power on. Those flaps create a lot of drag, so once you come off the power, it stops. So I've been landing it between quarter and third power, just dragging it in nose low, and as long as you don't try and flare it too much, it'll come in real nice. If you get a little happy on the up as you're getting ready to flare, I've had a few times where I've done that and it'll actually tip stall. Luckily, most of those were really close to the ground, so I didn't do any damage. But overall, it tracks very, very nice. It's pretty quick on 4S. It's not as fast as some of the, you know, race warbirds that are in this size class, but I'd say it's probably doing about 80, 85 on the larger 4S pack that I'm running. So I just flew on the Zippy 2200 Compact 25C 4S. Just before that, I flew it on some Zippy 40C 2650 4S packs. And I gotta say, I really like that battery. I know it weighs a couple ounces more than this one. It's a little bit bigger, and I'll show you guys the battery placement on that one later. It pretty much sits right behind the plastic motor mount. But I really like the way it flew, and it had a little bit more punch. And the flight time's great. I had 7.5 minutes with over 20% left in the battery, which is how I like to run them. So it really cooks along, and I mean, this thing has great detail. It's got some rivet detail in here, which is pretty hard to do with foam. And then the exhaust stacks, they're very detailed, nice plastic. They're actually open on the ends, which I think is really cool. And for those of you who didn't follow the RC Group's thread, who's just watching this video out of randomness, these decals do not come with the kit. These are done by a young lady in New Mexico called Cali Graphics, and these are vinyl. They're very easy to put on, and they stick great. And as you can see, they're very sharp and detailed. That's printed, which I think is pretty cool. And these are printed as well. I got some airbrush detail on them, so they aren't exactly 100% their true color. But these decals were very reasonably priced. If you order from her, she has a number of P40 decals already on file. She will do custom decals at very affordable prices. And just Google her, Cali Graphics. She's great. She's very fast. And I kind of wanted something different on mine. The kit comes with 4 different sets of decals, and they're very nice. I put some of the smaller ones on, and man, there's some, I've never seen them like that before. They have a really cool backing on them, and they stick really well. So there's certainly nothing wrong with the factory decals. I just kind of like to be different. Even though it does come with 4 different choices of schemes, which I think is really cool. I think that all the model companies need to start doing that, because you kind of get tired of seeing the same exact model everywhere you go. Kind of like E-Flight, they're all the same. But this is nice because, you know, you get to kind of pick and choose what you want to put on and how you want to put them on, or you can do your own thing, so, which I think is very neat. It's got these really cool plastic split flaps, and it looks great coming into land with the flaps hanging out in the gear. One thing I'm really happy that Durafly did was they kept the landing gear scale. I don't know of anything else that ruins the look more of a P40 than having landing gear that are too wide. And they really got it good. They got these nice little spring-loaded gear doors on here. A very scale-sized wheel, which is another big plus for me. I'm a big stickler for that kind of stuff. I hate seeing small wheels and gear stance that isn't right. The prop's very nice. It runs pretty smooth out of the box. I had to do a little bouncing. I just used a little piece of tape on the inside of the spinner, and seems to work pretty good. It runs nice and smooth. It's got these great plastic guns, pitot tube, and some antennas that come with it. Overall, I think the shape of the airplane's pretty sweet. The dihedral on the ground does look a little low. In the air, you put some load on it, kind of fixes that. And like I said, we've already talked about the rudder. It's a little big, but I think overall, for this size model, for the amount of detail it has, and just the overall look of it, I'd say they did a pretty good job. The canopy looks great. What else is there? One of the reasons I didn't use the factory decals, I actually really like the skull scheme, but I'm kind of a nitpicker, I guess you could say, about stars and bars. They're the right size and shape, but the color's a little off. They're a little on the light side, which kind of bugs me. That's one of the reasons I went with Cali Graphics. But if that doesn't bother you, I think you're going to really enjoy just the stock decals. Like I said, you can see up close. I just scraped it up a bunch last night working on it. I had the wing on top of it and top of the fuselage, so I got some little nicks and stuff here, which kind of pisses me off, but oh well, we'll get over it. But there it is. She flies great. We're gonna get some video here in a little bit of it flying. And sorry, I'm not John Barnes. I don't do super awesome videos, but this is as good as you guys can get from me. Like I said, track's very nice. Does nice point rolls and nice barrel rolls. It'll hammerhead real well. What else? Like I said, track's very nice, and she moves along pretty good. And I'll talk you guys through the flight while we're flying, just to kind of give you some pointers. But overall, I think you guys are really going to enjoy this model. I know it's been said before, it's going to be worth the wait. I know it's coming, quote unquote, soon. I know you guys don't want to hear that. I don't have an exact answer. I'm sure Stuart knows, and I'm sure it will be very, very soon. That's the reason why I'm doing this review. So, I wouldn't keep checking every 5 minutes, but it's going to be there soon. So, once my dad shows up, I'll have someone run the camera for me, and we'll get some video of this thing flying. And there she is, Durafly P40. Thanks, guys.